Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Family, brought to you by Anything I Want. And I'm here with the lovely Alea. I met her out here in Atlanta. She is a friend of Kayla, and so I'm really grateful that you decided to sit down and talk with me today about your faith-based journey. So thank you for coming out.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's such an honor, and I'm excited to be here. How people compliment me, what I want people, what do I think of friendship? I think for me, for a very long time, I could have deemed friendship as like more of a partnership in terms of like business, like a business partner. It's like, because I've always wanted to be productive in my relationships. It's like, we're not progressing, baby. What are we doing? And so I think over the years, God has just been showing me the beauty of being, right? Like not just being a human doing, but like just being a human being and learning how to love people for just them being who they are. And I think it has given me a chance to release false expectations, false intimate, just a lot of false narratives, and really learn how to welcome like the reality of what things are. But I think for me, the biggest things I have to let go again is just habits, mindsets, languages, like speaking. I always say this all the time, that everything has a language. Like healing has a language, brokenness has a language. And if you speak a broken language for so long, it only makes sense to you. And then when you get around healed people and it's just like they don't understand why you are constantly repeating the pain, or just like you're condemning yourself, or you're so comfortable sitting in the hurt. And then I meet certain like lighthearted people or childlike people that just let stuff, like children, you can see them fighting over a pencil or something. And then like 30 seconds later, they're back dancing and playing again. Us as adults, nah, I don't really fool with you. I don't fool with you. Like, that's how it go. And we're going to carry that grudge to the grave. But my God, it affects us a lot more than it affects them. So I think I've learned like I've had to let go of grudges. I've had to let go of like the pain that was suffocating me, because I promise you, I was a very bitter, angry person. And I thought I had a right to be. I was very justified of like, no, I really don't like that. This is that. In every space I went into, I spread that venom in thinking that I had a right to over explain my hurt or what has happened. And really it contaminates a space. And so I think that in maturity, you just really do learn like that your experience is not everybody's experience, and really having to understand like what God is wanting you to let go of or to take into the next space. So I think it's just eating the meat, throw away the bones, but also understanding that everything that God allows you to go through is not in vain. And so I think I've just been learning how to say, even though I've had to let people go or things go, it served this term, even if it was for me to realize who I was in those seasons. And so I think for me, it has just been letting go of the way I used to operate. I think that was, if I had to give like an answer, direct answer, it would be like my thought patterns and like just the way that I functioned was just so unhealthy. Oh my gosh. Like, and now I'm just now like really I've come to a place of humbling, or the Lord has humbled me. Look, let's be honest. The Lord has humbled me to a place where it's just like, I have to fully allow him to do the work in me. Like you said, when you had to let go of certain relationships with things, there's a journey that you have to journey with God. And if you are tussling with the Lord because you wanted to still hold on to things and people, he is a gentleman, so he's going to politely either wait or walk away. Like you said, a little sass, not too much. He'll reconvene when you're ready. Because I'm not going to keep saying wasting my time. So I think the Lord has been very patient with me for a very long time through just trusting him. I think throughout the years of my life. And thank you, Lord. And just unlearning. There we go. Like just unlearning and unwiring what I thought was right for so long. Because when you think you are right, you don't think you need to unlearn something. You just think people need to learn what you already know. Prideful.
Extremely.
It's extremely prideful, and all just going into spaces not feeling like there's nothing for you to learn, or just it's just not healthy. And so I look back and I see like, wow, Lord, like I am not the same. And even though I'm still running the business, functioning, being the face, it's like the Lord has been doing a heart work in me. And I think with me birthing my business, I can be honest, it's not the traditional story, but I'll be honest. I think my business was birthed out of rejection because I had a gift to do what other people were doing. I just wanted to go find something that was a need. So it's like, so instead of like auditioning or wanting to chase like being picked my whole life, out of pride, I was like, oh, people are going to always need makeup. Like, people are going to always, I will never be needing to beg anybody because they're not going to get in front of a camera without makeup. So it's like, so God started to show me like, okay, like, so he graced me. He graced me until I like was not fulfilled. So it's like, cause you're like the way, it's literally like the Lord has wired us a certain way that he knows what fulfills us because he created us. And so when we think that we can like engineer our like false sense of like, well, I'm going to go do this and I'm going to do that, or I'm going to let go of this or hold on to that because this is really what I want. God has a funny way of letting you exhaust yourself until you realize like, oh, I'm chasing smoke. And so I think for me, it was just a humbling journey for me to realize I had to just let go of a lot of myself, like a lot of me trying to be God, play God, think that I knew best. And yeah, so I just think it's been a journey. But I think now, just through all of the grieving, right? Because you do grieve what you thought you wanted. You grieve what you thought. Ooh, and then you have to get over the fact that you was upset with God. But really, was you fully surrendered to God to not be upset with what he told you? Yeah, so it was a whole process. I think with my business of me learning, like, the reason why it was birthed, he sustained because he's a sustainer and he graces us even when we don't deserve it. But I think that he loves us enough to correct us and call us to a place of honesty to really ask, like, what's the why behind the what that you're doing? Like, are you doing this for you? And so I think for me, I just had to let go of just like, I'm gonna do this because I'm gonna be the next best thing in Atlanta, and baby, you the next humble thing in Atlanta, baby. The Lord I call it the great humbling. That's what it comes for us all, but I think the great humbling is it shakes you. It's just something where it really does show you really you're not able to do it without God. You're just not.
That's true.
I hope I was able to.
You were. Actually, there's something that you said that I wanted to go back to.
Okay.
About how you feel like it came from rejection because were you being rejected in all these other aspects of your life,
wow,
and then you realize, okay, I want to pick a field where I feel like there is not much rejection because everyone will always need makeup. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think as a kid, I knew I was talented. I knew I had gifts, all these great things, but I think because they were built in a space of being critiqued more than they were equipped, I think it built a sense of insecurity. So if I'm in more auditions than I am rehearsals, then it's just like, girl, you're going to keep me told no, but are you getting equipped to understand? Or it's like, you're good, you're just not good enough. It's like, that's powerful. And so it's just like, but as a kid, what do you do when it's just like you keep trying but you don't know why? It's like, and I think that has been one of my biggest frustrations with the platforms of people that can tell you that I feel like if you're if you're good enough to tell me no, I think you can be wise enough to tell me why, like, or critique me enough to give me, like, if you have that much credential, like, to tell me that I'm not good enough, I think you should have that much resources to equip me with what it takes to become better. And I think in those spaces, I was not built up more than I was torn down. And so I think you're so good, you should do, and then me going to do these things. And in certain areas, I was gifted the roles or gifted opportunities, but I still was not fulfilled because it's still, like you said, that thief of comparison where I'm always looking at the next person, or you think your spot is about to get taken because somebody won't they know your lines better than, it's just that world wasn't for me. I'm not gonna lie. I said, oh, this stuff is intense. Like, y'all really can't sleep at night over this. And it just really showed me like the things that people were passionate about was not a big burden for me. Like, I think I've always just had a burden to make people be better, look better. And that's from like a mental to a physical. Like, I just love the bettering and the evolving of people. And so I think with me finding makeup, it was just falling in love with, like you said, the fulfillment of seeing someone be transformed in a moment, not just externally, but even internally, to be like, wow, this conversation plus the application that we had brought this out of me. And so I think, like, yes, it was birthed out of rejection, because also exhaustion. Like, I was auditioning for these plays and getting in it, but I was just like, I just think the Lord showed me that I didn't want to keep off. It was honestly out of fear, because I think it was a sense of like, I don't want to be a struggling artist. I think as a kid, I'm thinking like, you're constantly being told no as a kid. I couldn't imagine having bills in life in front of me, and I'm just constantly auditioning. And so I think, yes, it was birthed out of an entrepreneurial mindset of like, meet a need. Like, I think that's great that people can, like, use their talents to open doors. But even in that, think beyond that moment. And I just think for me as a teenager, I was already thinking like, okay, this is not going to sustain me the way that I desire for it to do, because if I don't even get the gig, then you're jobless. And so it's just like, I understood very early, like, oh yeah, like this is not my forever. And so I think it was me at that point, instead of surrendering to God, I, like I said, wanted to put on my cape and become like, let's figure this out and let me make my plan and work my plan. And it's just like, that's where you burn yourself out. And I celebrated 10 years this year, and I can honestly look back and say, like, and in my 10 years, I'm finally in a place of fully surrendering the business back. So what was you doing the first 9? Hey man, we was trusting the Lord, but we wasn't including him. Okay. So I think now I'm fully understanding the beauty of not feeling like you have to post to prove you're working. You're just being what God has called you to be. And there's just a different type of peace, like you said, that comes with not having to prove to people that you are successful, or that you're working, or that you're. And I just remember when I first started my business, I was a hustler to be in different rooms, working on this news station, working on this radio station, trying to always be in a room to prove to people. My heart was never pure. It was always to be prove and post that I'm moving, I'm working, I'm in the next best. And then it really makes you more insecure, because it only makes you feel like you're only as good as the next gig you're doing. So it's like, instead of you finding worth in just who you are, you're finding worth in the rooms you're in, the people you're around, and the stuff you're doing. And so if you're not in those rooms, or if you're not, then what do you feel? And so I think the Lord just really had to really win and I say this all the time as I'm sharing my testimony, but it's like the Lord literally won my soul in the wilderness. It's like he had to take me into the wilderness too, because I idolize people so much and success so much that I'm thinking like, well, the Lord will bless you through people, and you know, we can manipulate our way to believing that the way that we think of stuff is right, but God will definitely unwire, uproot. But I think for me, he was just showing me, like, you chase up on people, you want people to and you don't even see that I'm trying to give you everything that you're wanting people to give you. So it's just been such a great, it's been a great humbling. It's been a great humbling, but it's been a great, experience to see that the hand of God has been on my life the whole time, and that he never left me, even when I left him. Y'all, that sounds so deep, but it's true. And so I just really encourage you guys to really lean on the Lord, even if you feel like you have strayed so far where you didn't include him in things and you just out here moving. Invite him in. And like, I know, like, the moment I fully invited him in is when I surrendered. To answer your question, it's like, because with an invitation, he'll come, you know? So yeah.
Thank you so much for that, like, deep dive into your journey. Like, honestly,
absolutely
super grateful.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's episode so far. A lot of work, love, and energy was poured into it. To learn more about Anything I Want, be sure to check out our website, which is at www.anythingiwant.com. There, you'll find unique wellness and faith-based creative resources to help you on your path with the Lord. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. We love to hear from you.